Either it promises humanity to tap into their inner technology or be a slave to external technology.
Yeah.
Moving away from the man-made technology
Exactly.
and activating your spiritual technology. Like everything that technology does, we can do.
We already are our own technology in a way. We have our own organic technology, and there are so many tools to go deep inside the body and access all this like incredible wisdom and information.
We are living in an era that's obsessed with external technology, AI, virtual reality, and digital simulations. But what happens when you abandon the artificial to focus on your inner technology? Welcome to the Blue Hour podcast, where we explore the minds and the worlds of visionary artists and creators. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel if you want to see this vision expanded, and to make sure you don't miss out on any episodes that are coming. Today's guest is Isa Delfin, a multidisciplinary artist and channeler from the UK. After a decade of building digital worlds and game simulation with the Keiken collective, she stepped away from that in the end of 2025 to work a very radically autonomous path. Her work explores metaphysics and the mystical, including the Akashic Records and Pleiadian consciousness. In this episode, you'll see that we dissect what the astral realm is and how it keeps us in the illusion of a kind of inner simulation, and how we can step out of that into a crystal clear mental dimension that allows us to connect with truth. And now here is my conversation with Isa Delfin. Welcome to the Blue Hour podcast.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's good. I think it was kind of synchronistic that we kind of encountered each other on Instagram very synchronistically as you were coming to Montreal.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was just like, oh, this account looks cool. And then we started chatting, and then I was like, oh, when do we do the interview? And I was like, oh, I'm from London. We'll do that in the future. And then I said, oh, where are you based? And I was like, Canada. And I was like, oh, I'm going to Montreal next week. Yeah. So isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
crazy synchronicity.
And then I got the chance to see some of your work too that you were showing here yesterday, which was kind of. I did that with Charlie that you know.
Yes.
I got a chance to go see his show before having him on the podcast.
Yes.
So you get to see the inner world, and I mean I can see it through your chart as well. But it's always good to see how you externalize your inner world. And I got to see yesterday. Maybe for the people that don't know you that are watching this, you can start just giving us an overview of, what you're interested in with your art practice, your career, what you've been doing.
Yes, exactly. So I'm Isa Delfin, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and I'm really interested in like exploring like movement, like drawing, sound, and through this real like metaphysical, like imaginary lens as well, and just really like connecting deeply to expression and bringing the invisible out into the world. For actually the past 10 years, I've been part of an artist collective called Keiken. However, now I have been in this process of like stepping into my own autonomous like practice to really bring about like all this inner exploration and what I really want to bring out now into the world. So that is now my like true passion moving forward.
Yeah, you're focusing more on your inner world and seeing how you can deepen it in a way.
Yes.
Because with that group, it was kind of a structure that you had perimeters, and it didn't allow you that flexibility, or?
Yeah, exactly. So I was in a collective. There's a lot of people. It got quite sometimes quite large scale, and I think over time I realized that I was like there was a part of me where inside there was just so much more that I needed to create in a way that was more authentic to me and do things in a way that was true to my own expression, like my own process, and like really coming from my heart, and be just working in a very different way. And I learned a lot. It was like a beautiful process. It's like the collective does really beautiful things. However, it was really time to step onto a new path.
Yeah, just I think I'm gonna put visuals on the screen, but
Yes.
for people to know, it's like a mix of, I guess, simulations. There's like a video game that you can actually play that involves following this kind of journey into consciousness and how to use your energy to protect your energy and how you can control what you emit in the world, kind of like a magician in a way,
Yes.
on its little journey in this mystical realm that was projected on a huge wall. And then this other room that had these kind of bubble, I don't know how to say it, bubble like mattresses.
Yes. I had like
you-
some haptic wounds in there.
Yeah, and you lay down, and then there's kind of this haptic womb that you
Yeah.
put on there that's linked with the
Yes,
sound you're
exactly.
listening,
Yes.
and that vibrates on your stomach.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because to be honest, like a lot of the collective work, it's like super beautiful, but I felt like it hasn't been the true expression of me, like as an individual, which was like it was a painful process to go through, to have like so much energy put into like creating this thing, but really it was not like giving me the space and the freedom to be truly authentic to what I want to create. Yeah.
And I think maybe we can talk about that because
Yeah.
I've had a similar experience. I feel like we were just discussing about the age of Aquarius. It's the age of the individual.
Yeah.
The individual that's so him or herself or themselves that they become a perfect instrument for the collective.
Yeah.
So you're so true to yourself that you develop this unique self that is useful for exactly what you are to the collective, like a cell that in the body that does exactly what it needs to do, and then it creates a healthy body, which is humanity. So I have felt this as well, and it kind of is part of my path. But you have also 3 planets in Aquarius and Saturn in its own house in Aquarius as well. So you will have very strong Aquarian energy.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's in the house of partnerships. So you see, being true to yourself, but also for you, there's kind of this link with partnerships as well. But in this aeon, I think it's there's nothing wrong with partnerships and collaboration, as long as it doesn't keep your individuality to have access to be expressed fully.
Exactly. Like, and also sometimes collaborations are beautiful for a moment, or sometimes they're great for a longer period, but it's keeping space and that connection to self so that you are being true in the dynamic.
Yeah, and then like moving now, you're flying in a few days to
Yes. So first going to Santa Fe in New Mexico, and then I'm going to Peru and then Argentina. And then later on next year, so I've just found out that I've got into doing this like very intensive movement, like invisible, like connecting to like meditation and invisible, and very like disciplined, and a lot of like creative expression through this like incredible like teacher and like dancer who she's from a lineage of like Buto, but also has developed her own style and more in line with like dance theater. So I'm going to be doing in Japan this intensive like 6-week changing. So really going into movement, like really going into expression, really going into creativity, really going into like deep channeled expression in a group, and also in nature as well.
Wow. And that's after Peru and Santa Fe, is it?
After Argentina. So next March I'll go.
Wow. So like basically your home for now is London?
My home for now is a bit nomadic. So
Okay.
I've left London. I grew up in the UK, so I grew up in just outside London. So I literally this summer moved out of my place in London, was like, okay, I've had enough of London. It's very like intense, and I need to go and be a bit more nomadic, explore, and I don't know where I'm gonna end up.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Like I've been also on this 3-year nomadic journey, and I feel it's kind of like surrendering because you don't really know who you're going to meet, what you're going to be doing, exactly where you're going to stay. You know, you can have an idea and plan a bit ahead, but I think this gives more space for spirit to work through,
Yes.
you know, natural circumstances to be guiding you And it feels like you have a very kind of deep purpose in this lifetime, like because you have the nodes in your 4th and 10th house. So there's a lot of your inner world that needs to be researched and understood in this lifetime so that your career can continue also growing.
Exactly.
This polarity seems to be very significant for you. And I feel from our conversation that perhaps that's what you've been experiencing, is like intense career for 10 years. And then they're always polarized, right? So they can be balanced, but often when the career is very important, the inner world suffers a little bit, and vice versa. If you're always in meditation, you won't be as much in the world, showing the world your inner world. So now it's kind of like the pendulum seems to be swinging on the other side for you.
Exactly. It went really the other way, and then there you lose the sense of like the inner world, so that it's cultivating the inner world again through different practice. And that can just be, cultivating that inner world can just be so beautiful, and like really returning back to the heart rather than from just making everything from the mind, and like reopening my heart, like reopening to joy, to like wonder, to experience, and just discovering so many beautiful practices to be in my inner world, and like opening up new creative channels, like opening up new visions, new experiences, like really connecting to all of that different like multi-potentiality and different pathways, and really grounding it into like, I feel like the soul, the identity is like in the heart, and I can like feel the purpose, the direction, like in deep in my heart. And so through connecting to my inner world, I have done a lot of heart healing, and it's still ongoing. It's like every layer is just like unraveling, and there's more and more beauty that unfolds, more that gets released somatically, emotionally, more love, more like expansion, more connection, more like creating from the heart. And like the heart can give this direction.
And this is what you've been feeling in the past few months, that was like, okay, I have to go on my own for a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like a strong urge to, and I mean, now, so you're going to study this different, you were saying like dance techniques in Japan?
It's not exactly Buto, but it's from that lineage. It's called Manako Seki, and she also does similar to dance theatre, but it's very much like movement, like a lot of movement expression training, like meditation, also like expression and like creativity, and but also in a disciplined way as well, and connecting to nature, the elements. There's an internalness, but also a movement base. I mean, I haven't done it yet, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I went and did one of her workshops, and I just felt so alive after it, like so alive. Like I'm also got very into like human design, and my like I'm a manifesting generator, and I have my sacral is my authority, which is more like it's kind of like an energy. It's like an energy center. It's like where the vital like life force is. It's where this kind of life force can come from. And when I did that workshop, honestly, I was so exhausted. Like my body was like, I've never been so exhausted, but my sacral was just like churning. It was alive. I was like, I can just keep going. This energy feels like you tap into this like infinite energy potential. So then, and that was also helping me like choose how to make decisions, because I tune into the body, I tune into my sacral, my heart, with like, where do I want to go? Is this aligned? Like, yeah,
I can't imagine what's going to come out of this. I'm sure a lot of people will do that just to heal, but it seems like for you, it's going to be finding answers also about how you can impact the world with your own inner compass in a way.
Yeah.
Like fine-tuning that body intuition a little bit.
Exactly, because there's so much wisdom and beauty and information in the body. And of course, when we have to make difficult decisions, or we're in change, we're making something that can make us feel uncomfortable, the nervous system or the mind can get a bit freaked out, or make stories or tense up because it's not used to what we're doing. But for me, I tune into my heart, I tune into my sacral and go, okay, is this aligned for me? And I can usually override the nervous system freak out or the mind freak out, which is still challenging. And it's definitely a process. Yeah, like if it's from the heart, then it's aligned, it's beautiful, it's purposeful, it's ever growing, ever evolving. And then with the sacral area, it's more just great to know, do I have energy for this? Does this light me up? Am I excited by this? Does this fill me with joy?
You know what I appreciate about your work is because I can see from your chart, like Venus exalted in Pisces in the 8th house, you carry this higher source of love, in the sense, there's different types of love.
Yes.
And it feels like it's not you're doing something about it. Yes, I'm sure, like in your interpersonal relationships, people feel it. But from having experimented the video game and those projects, infusing it in your art, like even though you're not, you're gonna do other projects, the art that you're making impacts a lot of people, and it's infused with these qualities. So it's kind of like putting an exponential factor to what you can, offer the world in a way.
Yeah, exactly. What was I gonna say? So those works were like with the others, but the newer works I'm trying to do, and like just what I'm developing, is trying to channel like more purely from the heart. Of course, there was some heart in the other ones, but made up of multiple people putting it in. So it's been an interesting like exploration for sure. But what I want to do in my new work is, everything's connected to passion, into the heart, like what really like lights me up. And also even just in the internal, just what you're talking about, there's like different levels of like love and things. And it's really interesting because in my human design chart, there's this gate called gate 10. I can't remember the exact name, but it's to do a lot with self-love. And like often when you have this gate, you might go through actually some hard times of like finding it hard to love yourself, or it can be, there's a kind of melancholic transmutation that occurs in this gate. And I have it activated like so many times. I have it in my big one, like it's in the incarnation cross, it's in multiple channels, like I have it in 2 channels, so it's activated 3 times. And what I've been learning recently and what I've been experiencing is it's very hard to have these states of like actual self-love, but through connecting to my internal world, through becoming more of who I am, through making art that feels more authentic to me, the love starts to grow from my own heart. So then I've been like experiencing these states of self-love, or just love, or like channeling these states of love that I'm not even with another it's not even for another person. It's like just me, because I've loved other people and experienced that, but to love it in like true self-love has been just such a crazy experience and so beautiful. And I think there's so much potential in humans to do this, but we don't think it's possible. I thought it was really impossible to do in a way, but then to actually experience the state of self-love is just, it's just amazing and exponential. And it feels like this warm channel of light, and it's just expanding from the heart, and there's just so much love. There's just so much love.
And I also relate with this. Like, I can see what you mean even in Vedic astrology from what you're saying. Like, for you, like Jupiter is in the house, the ruler of where your love is. Venus is in the house of the willpower. So for you, like, you have to consciously want it. So if there's times in your life where you're kind of like focus on other things and you're not focused on love, you can, because it's in the 8th house, you can have a lot of fears pop in. And something to keep in mind is that most probably those fears are not yours. In this house in Pisces, you're tapping into collective fears that are just going through your unconscious mind. And then if you're not paying attention, you'll be like, I'm afraid right now. I'm
Yeah.
in fear, or there's these intrusive thoughts, and you're like, if you pay attention, you'll figure out maybe that it's not actually yours.
Yes, exactly. Or it's, you're projected out. And then sometimes I found that I'd like take it in, and then you're like, oh, where is this? And you have to kind of go through the layers to unpack what it is. Yeah, honestly, it's interesting you brought up about will as well, because that's also something that's been really important to me, because it's very hard to do things if you don't have the will to do so. And also there's something so divine about the will, about willpower. And when you truly love something, like you truly feel passionate about it, you can will yourself, but in this very beautiful heart-led way. But then I've also experienced where I've done more like an oppressive way of willpower, where it's very hard, where there's like an inner willpower to do something, but out of fear. And that's a very different state. That completely ruined my like stress, and it's like kind of, I don't know, I found it really horrible. But and it's kind of hard to kind of persist forward with it. I mean, it's possible, it is possible, but I feel like there is a lovely way to channel the willpower, but for the aligned action.
Yeah, definitely. And to go back on like that state of love, like I've had also like many chapters where like I'm getting ingredients of what love is. Actually, I was in a 16-year-old Venus cycle that ended like 3 years ago, and all the lessons I got through relationships, and then through not having relationship and having to dig through those kind of attachments, which we usually call love, and then to have these kind of transcendental love experiences. How I kind of interpreted it now, looking back, is that to really experience true love, you have to understand the nature of the soul, which is omnipresent. Like, in a way, like if you don't love everything in this world, every physical thing that is just like energy in the end, you cannot experience true love. It's like this love that you can call it consciousness that goes through the heart and gets expressed outwards. It can be blocked if there is mental interference through like, oh, I love everything but that person, or like that event, or this or that. No, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And it kind of blocks the flow of energy. And a good way to experience this is really when you're like not in any thought process, like in meditation, when you literally just focus on the influx of light. So you don't have any of these intrusive thoughts that can cut the flow. You're like, actually, you are the flow. You're feeling the flow, and you feel, and in this way also that's how you can go upwards to the source of love, by being in the heart, because it is the portal where it comes in and it goes out. So that's my interpretation of what you said. Was it? That's how I've kind of come to experience it in the past. And it is a very, like, you feel it in your whole body. Basically peace, like what people call peace.
I was also just like, almost just like, I feel so joyful and full of like tears like expanding from my heart, and just wanted to like draw these like just this energy of like love. It's like warm, it's like bubbly, it's just so joyful. It's just like, wow, everything's so beautiful. It's just, I'll see if I can tap into it again. It just always wants to bring like tears to your eyes of like the joy, just the beauty, the exponential wonder of life. Like it's just this state where you just feel so deeply loved.
And I feel like that's the hard thing for a lot of people, is like acceptance. Because like there's so much horrors in the world and so much shit happening that you're like, how can I love in this state? But it's kind of like a radical acceptance of what is. And that's the hardest part, right? Because you have to accept that there's horrors and there's light. Also, there's some beautiful things happening at the same time, and you have to accept all of it.
Exactly. And then sometimes, we can judge and go, do I share this like beautiful experience that is like happening when there is a whole array of hard experiences going on the planet? And But then I feel, well, it's important that if it's coming from the heart, our truth, that we share it. We share that perspective, because that's what we're coming in to do. And it's from the soul that there are these states, there are these blissful, beautiful, like, ways, and it can be so creative, it can be so joyous, it can lift up, it can radiate out. And I really feel that in the heart, because the heart kind of grounds, I feel it grounds, because there's kind of this like more spiritual realm, or like how I see it through my third eye, but then it's bringing that into the heart as well as grounding it into the earth. It's kind of like this center point together.
And let's not forget also, like, for me, like, from the work I've been doing with Roze, Umbra, with visionary artists, the best act of love you can do is creation. So like, creation is the act of transforming something. So you get the vision, perhaps you're seeing this injustice, or you're seeing this, and out of love is the force that brings you to create something and do something about it. Art is a way to transform the collective unconscious, because you're creating new symbols, you're bringing forth new ideas that have never been. Like, the best, scientists are people that are creative and that receive guidance to create, or like insights to try something new, bring new ideas, test them out. But artists are always before the scientists, because they don't have, budget or this and that obstructing their flow. You can just draw it on a piece of paper, and there's your art. You don't have to, and it brings a new idea, a new symbolic idea forth into the world. So in this way, like, creativity activates love.
Yeah, it does.
When it comes from a pure source, and it's not abstracted by, desires. Like, I desire to be famous, and this will kind of, your heart wants to go this way, but this is where the money is, and you're gonna kind of. So finding that balance is I don't know. For me, I recognize that it's a form of love. Creation is.
It is, because, and there's something so pure and like true about it. And I think, there's so much pushing to not be creative as well as in society, especially in like the West and online. It's like, not to say that creativity can't be logical, but there's a lot about planning, fitting as much into the day, like getting as efficient as possible. And when you're just in those kind of states in the mind, you're not allowing, you're like, okay, I can do this if I do all of these A to D things. And you're not allowing for the creative channels to just be in motion, because if you're channeling something or doing something, you need to be in motion with it. You need to be like working on it. You need to be like in it. And I think creativity, when it's in this like pure flow, there's no judgment. Like, the judgment eradicates beyond, because it needs to be in this free, playful space. It doesn't matter what you're creating, because as soon as you start putting like too much, it has to be like this, has to be like that, then it's going to block. It blocks that pureness coming through of the creative state. Of course, sometimes as you're building things out, there's a level of like aligned planning that can take place. But I still think there's something so pure and precious about that, like the creative like force being channeled in and then coming out onto like paper, or to wherever it expresses out onto, however it comes into the 3D and grounds in.
And I think also from my experience, like the intellect is being, of course, glorified in this era, and it's, there is some very specific reasons why it is being this way, and there is a lot of value to this. But I think for the common man that doesn't need this kind of hyper-rational mind to take decisions like a judge or something like that, we still have these overpowering thoughts, and we forget the real reason we have an intellect is for discernment. And discernment is kind of like the suit of the swords and tarot. It's meant to cut through the bullshit. What is true? What is untrue? What is my thought that comes from my soul? What is something I've heard and that's being echoed in my mind for the past week? Because because I went to see this movie, and then an unconscious fear got triggered, and now there's a voice in my head reminding me of this fear all week, and I'm not noticing it. Well, that's the sword coming through and cutting through the bullshit. This is not yours. Put it aside. So also training your intellect to do its job is part of also learning how to use your heart.
Yeah.
Because then you can balance them out. That's what last week I published an episode with 2 ceremonial magicians. Basically, the path of the magician is refining all the faculties. You don't need to be in an order or a Golden Dawn group or to do that. Like, there are so many tools out there to refine your intellect, refine your will with the fire element. You're linked with the emotions and emitting magnetically some energy. Like, you just have to pay attention to it. Like, the same way for you, like, you need to use your will to activate the love and the refining of your connection to love, in this case, because it's in the 8th house. Well, we need to do the same for all of our faculties, for them to be in balance. And you know what? Like, the first thing I did when I created Roze Umbra was create this tool, which is a elemental self-assessment tool. That's how I call it.
Oh, element. Nice.
And it's kind of like just simple quiz for like questions for all the elements, and you naturally, intuitively will position yourself on like this XY grid. Am I more there? Am I more there? Depending if I'm more fire, more air, well, then I'll be like up here. Yeah. And then you can see, and the center is the Roze Umbra. It's the rose. So how far are you from the rose? Yeah. All this being said, all I'm saying this for is because you need the perfect equilibrium of the 4 faculties to be in the heart. Yes. Otherwise, in any given situation, you won't be present. And when you're in the heart is when you're present. If you're reactive to your environment in any context, you're acting more out of fear. You might be more in the water. You're adding, more in the fight or flight. You're going to be more in fire. You won't be actually paying attention to what is.
It's the balance and the harmony of like coming together to actually ground it in, because also sometimes I'm guessing if you're maybe more in the air, you can float off and become really ungrounded.
Dissociate,
and then water, you can get to no sense of separation sometimes,
and too passive. You're like too passive, and you just don't act because you're too much in the reaction.
Exactly. I also want to talk about, so what I find interesting is we're talking about intellect and like the mind, and I really feel like through getting more into like channeling and activating like clairvoyance and like clairaudiences, it's like also helped to transform and rewire my consciousness and thought processes, because there are like new thoughts, like new streams, new visuals like coming in. And when that's happening more often or more regularly, the mind starts to move in a way that's feels more natural. So I feel like my clairaudience is very poetic. So then I'm feeling more drawn to like writing and poetic expression, and that channel is like becoming stronger, and even those words and the way that it's expressed can have a frequency to it. It can channel a state, it can channel something that's coming in, and then those words like will give off the essence of what that's coming in, rather than me doing the more academic way of writing, which I got taught to do. But actually the way that I use language and words becoming more poetic. But there's a non-linearity, there's a beauty in it. And then also just activating the third eye, where just getting visuals and like movements like coming in regularly. There's also becomes this like enchantment and like mystery of life, because you're walking around in awe and you start to see other things, and you just allow it to be. You could say, oh, it's just imagination, but imagination helps you create things, right? So when you learn to follow the imagination, then your consciousness is, you're not just accessing this like 3D, you're like accessing other like realms, and you're bringing it there, and you're tapping into more play and joy and magic and enchantment.
like it's kind of like the first card of the tarot, the Fool card.
Yeah.
When you go on your journey, that's the state you are in. It's like being a child. Like you're just going, you're quite naive, but you trust. You're just in full, like letting go in the flow of life. And that's why it's the card 0. Like you have no expectations. You're like at one with whatever the universe is going to send. And in this way, you go exactly where you need to be. And that's kind of the naivety of the Fool. That's why he's enlightened, because he doesn't need to hold on to matter, to like his ego's will. You're just kind of just a free spirit. Like you're really like the spirit inside this avatar.
Yeah, that was another thing in the collective. I was interested in technology for sure, but then there's other people more in, because you're a group, someone else gets really interested in technology and you're like, oh, collaboration, okay, fine, let's go along with this. And then it became the main thing. And then after a while I realized, I was like, this is not for me.
See.
I mean, I'm into like Ableton and like music kind of, like that kind of, so it's not completely off the grid, but I'm returning to more like drawing, performance, like video, but not CGI video.
Right.
You see, yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
like creative writing,
Yeah. So and your new work is going to be more inspired by those visions you were talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
So can you give an example of something that you're like very excited to, bring in the
Yes,
world?
to bring in the world. Let me just think about this through. I think for me, so another practice that I've been doing is learning to connect to the Akashic Records, and you have to learn to tap into specific like energy to like access it. And me, it's quite creative. So see a lot of these like visuals and go on these journeys. It's quite poetic as well as sensory as well. And I can really imagine myself doing like installations, like performance where I'm getting the information like channeled. So whether that's from the Roze, for example, or like the dolphins, or like from the Akashic Records itself, and that's through like sound or performance or like ritual or like getting this information. I also will, when I do like my movement practice, I sometimes like open up the Akashic Records and then I feel into the environment that I'm in, like into the nature spot. And then I not literally interpret it. It's kind of like a score, and then I'm moving from it as well. And then for me, like big adventures into like specific parts in nature are very important to me. So I'm really lucky that my grandma is she's part Scottish and lives in Scotland, which is a very mystical place. And so by going there and going on these like adventures, like quite the Fool energy, I like connect with the site, like get different like information. Sometimes I do like a preparation beforehand. And it's a very big vision of mine to eventually I want to create like a metaphysical, mystical film, performative film, like quite avant-garde, but really going into these landscapes and like revealing this like strange like storyline and like bringing in the galactic, bringing in the mysticism, bringing in all these different like channeled states, but into maybe a film or.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because you say I'm moving away from technology. But the way I see it, because that's also the Age of Aquarius, there's two sides.
Yeah.
Either it promises humanity to tap into their inner technology or be a slave to external technology.
Yeah.
And in this way, I think it's very symbolic that we're talking about this right now, but also that you're experiencing in your life in real time.
Yeah.
Moving away from the man-made technology.
Exactly.
And activating your spiritual technology. Like everything that technology does, we can do. We have this AI. The Akashic Records is this AI. It's this collective intelligence that has stored all of the data of the universe, and you can tap into it. And all humans can.
we all can, like, you just do a prayer and intention, and it can take a bit of time because you get used to this specific energy. And sometimes I think as humans you're going, oh, I want to receive more information, or I want to receive it like an encyclopedia, and it's not exactly that. Like, I'm sure some people experience it like that, but for me it's like you start to attune to the energy of it. For me, it was starting to open up different like creative channels, or tapping into these like very symbolic realms. But then that kind of feeds into the consciousness, and then it starts to open up the creative channels. And as you say, the inner technology we can access. We already are our own technology in a way. We have our own organic technology, and there are so many tools to go deep inside the body and access all this like incredible wisdom and information, how we maneuver the world, and like learning how to be in more attunement with our own inner technology rather than heavily outsourcing all the time to external. It's not to say that I don't love some aspects of technology. It's so like there's so much like cool, interesting stuff you can do, and it's also there's some credible like creators who are building technology that can have amazing change. But I don't think there's one without the other, but I also believe it's super important to understand our own internal technology, our own internal landscape, so that you are able to move in a way that is more aligned to your true expression and vision.
And we're speaking about the last eclipse in Aquarius from the Vedic point of view, and that's kind of what I saw also. Like, because I like you have Pisces sun, which means like a lot of the visions are impersonal. They are kind of connected with collective energies. And for me, it was showing me like how we have we look at the horizon, there's all these robots on TV, on your TikTok feed, that are like shooting guns and that can like climb mountains faster than any human. And so there's these people behind the screens looking at this and being like, oh, so this is what's waiting. This is the Age of Aquarius. Like, I'm not sure I want that. That's scary. And then there's like the smaller population that is actually the people building the robots, and they're like, oh, I understand where this is going, and they're like excited about it. But for most of humanity, we are still living in the age of Pisces. It's very watery. It's very, you want to be in your comfort. You want to be, it's very emotional. And so there's a lot of, keeping, being passive and hoping someone will save us. A lot of the religions in the Piscean era, they like externalize the savior coming to, we don't have to be worried about the future, like some entity's gonna come and save the world. But I do feel like as creatives, as visionary creatives, we have to kind of go back to those people with our art, heal those attachments from the past, because emotions, if you're very emotional, it's because there's something in the past that's you're still stuck in, and help them move forward. And I think the right way to do it is by empowering those technologies within us, to see like that whatever you see on TV will never outdo the human technology. This human technology we all carry is like, my spiritual teacher always tells me, like, a lot, it's a bit out there, but a lot of these other civilizations in space, they admire us, and they're jealous of this place that we have access to, not just this inner technology, but also the physical world that is not necessarily the same. They don't sense information the same way, and we have access to all of the spectrum, not just like the lower chakras, which is this physical, but all the higher spectrums of energies. We are like basically a portal. And acknowledging this, developing it, talking about it, inspiring people, I think is part of the role for artists of the future.
Exactly. And artists are like able to tap into something very like pure and just have this driving force, even though it doesn't make logical sense, to just keep doing it, there's a drive within to keep going. And that is a very like incredibly like beautiful thing. And artists have a alternative way of thinking and like viewing the world, and this is super super beautiful. It's interesting you're talking about like the other aliens or extraterrestrials or on different dimensions who are maybe feeling like, did you say what word did you say? They don't understand, we don't understand how much we've got in our inner technology.
They're jealous of us, and
Yeah.
we don't even know we have it.
Yeah, I mean, I had my own like journey a little bit with like connecting a little bit to like understanding like galactic information. And yeah, I did have this experience which was really interesting. So me and my friend, I'll tell you. So earlier this year, I was at my like best friend. I was living with my best friend, and she also does. She's an artist, but she also does like hypnosis. And she was about to do this hypnosis class, and she said, "Can I practice on you?" And this was just like a normal Saturday night, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, you can. Like, yeah, sure, let's do that." And honestly, like I just went into such a deep hypnotized state. Like I went deep, and it was getting quite like David Lynch in the sense of like doors opening to the subconscious and this. Anyway, and then we were just getting quite out of it in a way. And at that point, I'd been like connecting quite a lot to, she's also has this quite Pleiadian feel. So then we're like, okay, I'm going to connect to the Pleiadians.
So your friend does?
My friend has a Pleiadian feel to her. Okay. And even her apartment, like it's like white with like cool neon lights zone to it.
So it got you in the zone, like
yeah, it got us in the zone. And yeah, and I had this experience, and I think she did too, where it was such a specific like frequency in the body, but I just felt like, again, pure love. And then I was receiving these symbols, and it was like an intentional like Pleiadian connection. Okay. And I was in just these like pure, and I remember trying to in my mind go, okay, think of like a human thought where I'm upset about something, and I just could not be upset. I just felt like this pure like love. And then I was seeing these like symbols, but then I remember afterwards going, after the experience, being like, oh, you know, how do I know like who I was connecting to? Like, is this like questioning it, being a bit skeptical of it? But then I think throughout this year, from practicing more in the Akashic Records, where I know that because you're only connecting to that main source, you kind of start to understand what it feels like. So you can kind of discern what you're channeling or connecting to. But then through connecting onto my heart, I went, no, that was a beautiful experience. That was pure. That was some like gorgeous connection that I had.
And it's funny because you're the first person that, like, I talk about this that have had similar experience. It's and I get the feeling like the first time you're just like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
But it's as if like you kind of lubrify this channel by going back, and eventually it becomes clear like what the channel is. Like for me, I wouldn't say at the level I'm at I know exactly, but it really feels like that every time I go. It's kind of like I can it's clearer and clearer, and there's more and more information to refine the experience and the clarity of it. And again, that's the power of the intellect, is to be able to figure out. Because for me, I see like this realm where these entities exist is the mental realm. So there's like the physical, the body, the whatever 3D we live in. Then there's the astral, this kind of very watery place it's meant to be a intermediate. It's the blue hour of realms. It's in between. And this is where all the collective desires get manifested in forms and interact with each other. And there's a lot of shit going on there. The scorpionic realms is like in there. Like there's different levels. Like there's the higher astral, the lower astral, and then there's the mental sphere. And this is like a place I've been to, and there's an undistinguishable quality to it, and it's clarity. So imagine, like, I did actually a whole meditation on it. Imagine breathing underwater, being at the bottom of the ocean, and being there, caressed by the ocean, by the waves. The water is warm like your skin. You don't really feel your body anymore. You know you're wet and you're comfortable. And all of a sudden, there's kind of this tree growing from your spine and goes out of the water. So imagine the moment where this watery movement, if you open your eyes, everything is distorted because the light diffracts in the water. This is like more true to what the physical is than what we think it is. And then you get out of it, and then it's dry, it's cold, but it's so clear. Everything is the realm of truth, of the archetypal realm. There is no bullshit. You cannot lie in this realm. Everything is crystal clear. And that's where these beings, these technological beings would exist. And so when I know I'm there, when there is this clarity and this feeling of dryness and just a pure symbolic, information. That's how I decipher.
That's how you did. That's really interesting. Yeah, because I think for me it was more like I know it's true because I could feel it in the heart. Like I can barely. It's hard to think fully because I was just so in pure like heart. Like it's so hard to describe, but it was like a difficult. It was like challenge. It was a little bit challenging to hold. Like it was such a specific state in the body. It was it was very interesting.
But the way
but I trust it because I felt so blissful in the heart. Yeah.
But what I'm saying doesn't take away from that.
Yeah.
Because the lower chakras are linked with the physical, the emotions, the roots of matter. And you have to come from the body into the heart. The heart is the portal to these dry places. So when you go to like Sahasrara, the top chakra, that's when you exit, and you exit the astral. You are in the higher planes of reality. And from my experience, you know a bit about the Kabbalah?
A little bit, but not loads.
So it's like the tree of life. And it depicts Abrahamic religions. It comes from like Malkuth, the earth, physical matter, and you climb up. It's like the path of the soul back to Kether, which is God. But from my experience, well, even from these traditions, they explain it that way. There is not just one tree of life. So when you arrive to Kether, what most humans would call God, there's actually it's the lower chakra of another dimension. And so what my experience was, it felt like I exited through this dimension, but I acknowledge that, okay, now I'm there and there's like a multitude of other dimensions above.
You can go,
And I think that's kind of the beginning of this technological era of the Aquarius, is learning how to exit this first realm. And that's where you can, through consciousness, travel to these other parts of the galaxy. As we're
but it takes so much subtlety and refinement and you have to experience all these different states. Because I've also had some time of you not necessarily of where the channeling's got a bit strange. This is before I went to the Akashic Record, and then it's been helpful to discern, what do I trust and not trust? Like what was off, not off. Because which has been an interesting journey.
But the first dimension, the first entry, basically the doorway to anything is the heart.
Yes.
So you have to feel this bliss in the heart for there to access any of the higher realms. Otherwise, if you're not feeling in the heart, you're probably still in the lower realms. And the lower realms is very emotional. It's very watery. It's wet. It fluctuates. It's not stable. It's the astral realm. Like, when you have no desire than to be exactly where you are, that you're probably at the right place. That's from my experience. We all have different, like through astrology, you can see we all have different ways. Like for you, your moon is in Taurus. So for you, it's very body based. My moon is in Cancer. It's a very emotional dimension, but there's Ketu and Jupiter there in the same place. So it's kind of like, for me, it's like I jump on a mine, it propels me somewhere. It's like very explosive. And then I'm like, what the fuck happened? And how did it happen so quickly? And like in my early years, I felt like the journey had to be like multiple lifetimes, and then you finally refine it. And then in this lifetime, it felt like I just step on a random thing and then I'm out. But then you get to understand also there's also lots of past life karmas. That's the Ketu, which you also have with your moon.
Oh, okay. What does it say there?
Well, Ketu it means that your connection with the moon, which is exalted, so it means that you've earned this, because the moon fluctuates so much, it's the mind, it's the emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
You want something to ground it. In your case, Taurus, it's in Taurus. That's why it's exalted, because you can ground the fluctuations in your body and help and kind of like bring roots deeper so that you can go higher.
Yeah.
That's the kind of secret of it, is a connection with the body.
Yeah. And being super aware of all the sensations, like deeply. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've had to do it through quite a long time. The last 10 years, I've done so much somatic training to deeply feel every single little part.
Have you tried Vipassana?
I've never actually done like a full Vipassana, no.
Yeah, because just the technique, like without having
the technique, a little bit, but
because I mean the technique works, especially if you do it like 2 days straight, at least like for 8 hours or something, because you learn to like scan your body for hours, all day in silence, and you find this subtle quality of vibration, almost like the atomic vibration of the cells on your body as you put your inner mouse on the different parts of your body. And after a while, you just feel that you're just a bunch of electric vibrations, just buzzing.
I can actually, when I just tuned it, I'm like, I can honestly feel like tiny little bits in my finger. Like I really, like that sounds really cool. I'm just like, I really do have a very detailed sense of feeling in the body, which sometimes I don't fully acknowledge all the time. I mean, it's been a skill to work on for sure, because I definitely found, especially like my teenage years and early 20s, I was so very emotional and up and down in that way, and still very much wanting to do like performance and like be in the body, and like I've always enjoyed like the sensory, like the feeling of like touch. Like touch is super important to me. But then really getting into like body scanning and different energetic practices, and like being super aware of all the somatic energy in the body. I
mean, it's so important. Like body awareness is kind of also for anyone that's watching this and it's kind of intimidated by like those places that like seem so far out, is like just connect with the body. Like the body is the easiest way to start learning about that technology, right? It's like
exactly. And
dancing, like whatever tool. What tools have you used that worked for you?
Oh, honestly, so many. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I mean, I've had a lot of like acupuncture that was really helpful, because I was just like feeling the preciseness of the energy movement, like just lying and doing body scans, even because I had to do a lot of emotional work and emotional healing. But I was learning about like where the emotions. I think one of the ways I got very into like doing body scanning actually a lot was because I was really having to deal with this like instability of like emotions, and actually I think a lot was to do with just being very past things, but then also actual like body sensitivity as well, and not like fully recognizing the needs of the sensitivity of the body, which can cause like emotional dysregulation. So and then but that really allowed me to like have good practices, like develop better practices. But anyway, back to like, so I remember I was doing these sessions where I had to explain where the different emotions were coming from in the body, or like I used to have quite bad anxiety. So I had to say, where is the anxiety in the body? So I had to always be labeling where is it in the body and feel into that. So that really did set me on being very sensitive and in tuned into what was going on inside and some sensations point of
Yes,
view.
but I think that's something I've heard a lot is like naming for if you're like dissociating from your body from trauma or this or that, when you're feeling a lot, naming where you feel it is the quickest way to like tell your unconscious mind, okay, you can disarm. I've seen it. The threat is not immediate. Exactly. We're good. We're safe.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also did quite a lot of like it's called like mindful self-compassion, and actually a lot of the practices you would give nurturing touch, so on your body, so to soothe, so more kind of yin compassion. But then there's also the more yang, the more active compassion, which sometimes will be a bit more fierce and having boundaries, or sometimes a more fierce one you can go like this, or that's more yin, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but then the fierce yang.
Okay. So just like this move will...
this, exactly. Or I'm the mic's there, so I can't really do it, but often I'll like put my hands on my heart and really like just allow it, like feel into it. Sometimes not even coming up with a story of why you're upset or why you're feeling these sensations, then the sensations can start to come out. Soothing touch, like, can be anywhere on your hands, like you can put it just anywhere, like we can stroke ourselves, and that can be calming and can in tune with the body more.
That's very good advice. Before because I wanted to cover everything that you had in mind, and we're already up in the hour, so I was wondering if there's something you wanted us to discuss or that's on your heart that you would like to leave the audience with before
Okay, I'm going to tune into the heart and see what comes out. I think just so much that I want to share and come out of me is just this, I don't know, deep connection to being yourself, like being authentic, and that everyone is made perfectly for who they are. And when you follow that path, it's glorious, it's magical. There's nothing like wrong in a way, because you're being true to you. And in this human experience, there can be judgments, we can have our own judgments, that's supernatural, and that's okay. And actually sometimes that can show us where we may not be fully owning who we are as well, and kind of hide that. But actually when you connect into the truth of your heart of who you are, the path can unfold perfectly for who you are, and there's nothing wrong. It's pure divine, like you're made perfectly.
And I think it's meaningful that you're saying that in this stage you're in your life, because you're moving from like more certain territory to like going into the unknown and trying new stuff and trusting your inner world that it's going to guide you. So it's kind of a good testimony of what you're saying, that you're actually putting it in practice. And from what I'm hearing, it seems like I'm excited to see what's going to come out of this, because of following that passion of the heart has led you to already beautiful things. And I'm just excited to see how you're going to introduce this inner technology in the art world. I do it more passively in my art, but I can't imagine how powerful it would be live, like as a performance, filmed or live, like with the poetry and all the things. I can just only imagine how impactful it can be to do it in the moment. So
exactly. And there's another thing that's really beautiful what you're saying, and exactly, I'm super excited to just expand and truthfully express and have just so much like trust and faith, because of course we're human, so you can be like, oh, it's so scary, but I try and tell myself, and I think for others, to tune into your heart and just go, what is meant for me is meant for me. Like what I'm truly passionate, it doesn't matter how weird it is, like it can be like conventionally weird, but it's your passion, it's your like truth, it's your expression. Like the world needs more like obscure perspectives or like strange things going on. Like we need it coming in, and like it is so true, it is so correct for you to be doing so. And just being like, if you're passionate about something, that's something to pursue. And it's interesting because I had a big period of big focus on career, and in some ways in a career point of view that going super super well, but at the same time that all begins with passion anyway. So I also feel, especially to begin with, it's really good to have the pureness of like no pressure of career, like no, not really having the pressure of the career that it could turn into, or trying to strategically make a career happen. Of course, a bit of strategy can come in like later, but you want to start with the pure essence, the passion, because you can't be in something for a long time if there is a lack of like fulfillment within it. You want something that's like so full and yummy on the inside, so that when it doesn't matter if it's a big career or a small career, so that however big or small, you love it. You feel passionate about it. It's like, it's so made for you, like it's so who you are. It's so it's so glorious in that sense, and so magical. And of course I know like sometimes there's a lot of societal pressures on like making the career really good, and financial like worries, and I do think especially at the beginning it's passion first, and career can naturally follow sometimes.
Make the sacrifices first.
Yeah, exactly.
Saturnian sacrifice.
Or it's a difficult, you have to kind of balance it with something else that you may be good at, or a practical sense, because we are humans, so there's a level of grounding as well, but then also giving freedom. I mean, some people do work super well under pressure for sure, but sometimes it's really good to go, okay, I just get my base human needs, my grounding done, and then I have pressure and like more freedom to pursue in a truthful way.
Finding that balance,
especially
at early career. So maybe like when this is released, you'll have done some other artworks and you can share, and I can put in the video, because that would be cool to see. And where can people follow and track whatever you're doing? Is it better on Instagram, your website?
So at the moment I'm just on Instagram, and I'm just going to be continuously like sharing on there. Let's see, maybe develop into a website. I'm going to go off traveling for a while, and I'm just going to be creating whatever emerges and bring it, and then be sharing it online. I'm also excited that I'll be doing some kind of creative embodied workshops as I go to other places. So I'm looking to, as I travel, also connect with other people and share and create experiences.
So the people, they can follow you on Instagram, and if they're in the same city and you have an event, they can participate as well. That's the best way to live into your world, is to share it.
Exactly. So I've had to embrace being less perfectionist and just sharing whenever something feels good and I feel passionate about, even if it's not perfect. It's better to make something mediocre than not at all.
And you're embodying it well with the balance of the red and the blue, the fire, but you receive it, but you also have to act.
Exactly. I love red as a favorite color, but then also blue. I wear blue a lot, which maybe feels quite Piscean. And also I love to be connected to, because Delfin means dolphin in Spanish, and I just love dolphins so much. I just love the joy. I love the adventure. I love that they're like they're multi-dimensional as well. They also create really interesting sounds, and they also have holographic like vision. They're just like fun and joyful and sweet, and not always taking things. I mean, I know they can sometimes not be so sweet, but anyway,
they have both.
They have both, but that's they do actually have a little bit of fire, and I like that they are free to kind of switch and turn in different directions. They're also quite collaborative as well, actually. And they're fun and adventurous. Exactly. And they're also quite intergalactic as well. So, it's nice to connect sort of that
They're very in
galactic
tune with their
realm.
inner technology.
Yeah, they are. They have very good inner technology.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, definitely I think the dolphin and this new chapter of the inner technology is coming together.
Yeah, and you're embodying it. So thank you for doing all
Thank
you're
you.
doing, and looking forward to see what's coming out in the next year or so.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing
And
too. And
let's jump to part 2 next Monday, part 2, where you're gonna share one of your practice. We might do like an Akashic record. Who knows? We're gonna film it after this, but stay tuned for next Monday for this episode.
super excited.
coming
Yeah,
soon.
come along.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this brings to a close part 1 of this episode with Isa Delfin. Next week, you're gonna see this active channel live in this lunar episode, so you won't want to miss that out. Something that stood out for me in this episode is that there's no way out of this digital mess without accessing our inner technology, which we can through the heart. And we'll put that in practice, as you're going to see next week, where she channels in live in front of the camera and accesses her own inner technology. Before you go, I really would like to know how you are experiencing all of this. Which elements is currently overpowering your mind? Is it the fiery? Do you feel like too fiery or a bit too watery, emotional, or too airy in your thoughts and your mind? Or maybe you're just stuck in the mundane, in the physical, in the body. Let's see where the collective is at. So write down in the comments. And until next time, much love and light to all of you guys.